A former beauty queen accused of plotting the murder of her husband with a lover in the Bahamas is leveling accusations of her own against her latest boyfriend.
Oh, hell, you crazy as hell.
We're breaking down what we're able to find out about him and the allegations, as well as the latest on her murder for hire case, all with trial attorney.
Is she back in the States? Use a Q-tip to get... Oh, that's not a bad idea, Ash.
Bob Hilla. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Webb.
J-Webb. What you doing, J-Webb?
Now, we've told you before about Lindsay Shyer. She's the mom of 3 boys accused of plotting with her boyfriend in the Bahamas to have her estranged NFL player husband killed. Now, it might not surprise
you. NFL player? What? That dude did not play in the NFL, did he? That's not real life.
You to learn that Shyer and her husband Robert, they were going through quite a contentious divorce.
What'd he do? Was he the kicker?
With allegations of domestic violence and withholding their children from each other.
We have filed for divorce.
Okay.
Living in the same house. It's hell on earth, as you can imagine.
Okay.
So as you saw, police were called out to the couple's multi-million-dollar home several times for complaints. And in July of 2023, police in Thomasville, Georgia, that's near the Florida line, they responded to the home because Robert and the boys were headed to the Bahamas on a private plane, and it seems Lindsay wanted to go too.
So for the last 3 weeks, maybe longer, she's had her couple's trip planned with her boyfriend to go to Key West.
Okay, but she just said you're going.
That was to Key West.
But they don't.
I'm taking my kids, my 3 boys, to the Bahamas this morning.
Our kids.
Our kids.
What the hell? Y'all, he did play in the NFL. And now he's dating Savannah Chrisley?
You what?
Oh, hell. Man, this is crazy. That's a crazy... Oh, no. Oh, no. All right, let's keep going.
Yesterday, she sent a message saying that she's going to change her plans and now get on the airplane with me and the kids to go to the Bahamas.
But I own too,
And
by
when
the
we
way.
land, she's going to go to her boyfriend.
Elsewhere.
And me and the kids are going to our house. And I told her I'm not supporting that. And you're not getting on the airplane. That can mess with the kids' heads. And it's just something we're not going to do.
In situations like this, the best thing that we always recommend is y'all separate. Don't just separate from each other. You don't need to be going on vacation together if you file for divorce and it's obviously a volatile situation.
That's
Right.
Okay, and according to Bahamian authorities, on this same day, Lindsay and her Bahamian boyfriend plotted the murder for hire
Oh, hell.
plot against her husband. So Terrence Bethel was a bartender in the Bahamas. Authorities named him as an alleged co-conspirator. They reportedly recruited this man, Farron Newbold Jr., to carry out the hit. He has also been charged by Bahamian police alongside Bethel and Shyer. And police there say they uncovered the plot when they suspected the bartender of committing an unrelated crime, and they went through his phone. So cops examined Shiver's iPhone, and they discovered that she had allegedly sent Newbold Jr., quote, several pictures of her husband, Robert Shiver, along with a text saying, kill him. This is according to
Dear
court documents.
God.
There's also an alleged confession from Shiver to the police in the Bahamas that she apparently told Bethel she wanted to kill Robert, and Bethel said he wanted to kill him too. But she also said that she was just venting. She was just angry. She never actually wanted to do him any harm. That's probably going to be a defense that she puts forward. She was arrested and jailed in Nassau in July of 2023. She got out on $100,000 bail. She has to wear an ankle monitor. She wasn't allowed to leave the island. But last December, the judge in the Bahamas agreed that Shiver could return to the U.S. to see her children and live with her parents in Alabama. She still has to wear the ankle monitor, and she can't travel to Georgia, where Robert and the boys live. Now, at the time of her release, her attorney, Owen Wells, said, quote, she continues to face the legal process with complete transparency and honesty. Lindsay is looking forward to getting this ordeal behind her, and most importantly, she is looking forward to being reunited with her young children who have been without their mother for many months. Now, since her return, the former Miss County 2005, yes, former beauty queen, is apparently dating again.
2005, though?
And this is where a
Have you said?
whole slew of new problems come along. Why? Because according to new court documents from Alabama, things aren't going so well. And that's what we want to talk about right now. Because Shyer filed a protection order against 35-year-old Dorsey Robert Love in Houston County on July 29th. She claims Love threw her onto a bed, tried to choke her, suffocate
Oh, Lord.
her with a pillow at a home in Dothan, Alabama. She also claims that he abused her on an earlier trip to Florida, but says she didn't report that to police. And she wrote in the protection order request, quote, "He threatened to kill me."
Oh, Lord.
Love was arrested on July 31st. He was charged with strangulation. Now, we have found multiple mugshots out there for Mr. Love, but we haven't been able to independently verify the exact charges that he's faced or any convictions. As for Shyer, her trial in the Bahamas is expected to begin in October of this year. Made of questions right here. I want to bring in, first time here on Sidebar, trial attorney Bob Hilla. Bob, good to see you. So for anybody who doesn't know, Bob and I have appeared together on.
And Bob looks like he's about to give out the green jacket at the Masters. Holy hell. He's like, well, coming down the 10th fairway is going to be a bit rough today, Jesse. Oh, shit. Oh, wrong channel.
Long Crime Network for years. I was on, I think, like last week, the week before. I said, how come you haven't been on Sidebar? And that is when you told me, I don't like you, Jesse. I don't want to be on. But despite your wishes, you're on now.
Well, thank you for having me here today. It's great to be back with you.
Good to see you. So how does this development fit into the overall story? And most importantly, how does this fit into the Bahamas case in any which way?
I don't know that it really does. I mean, it's a separate incident, and it shows that her choice in men may be somewhat questionable. But the issue really is on this Love person and what his actions were. He doesn't seem to be related in any way to any plot in the Bahamas to kill her husband. So
That's
with
true, Heather,
respect
you
to
do.
whether or not anything in that case leads into the other one in the Bahamas, I just don't think it does, unless he starts to say, she told me some things.
And then he could be called as a witness in the Bahamas.
Right.
Oh, hell. Is it Rooks? Thanks for the $10 super sticker. So very sweet of you.
Right.
Is that you and your puppy dog in that picture?
Because I don't know, if you take these allegations was true, what led to this physical altercation between the couple. I will tell you, he's innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
These are accusations. I have to say there is a little bit of overlap here, because we remember in that body cam video that we played, she had accused Robert of getting physical with her. And she says in the video, that doesn't mean you get aggressive and push me out of the way. And he goes, Lindsay, I did not push you or anything. So assuming he's telling the truth, there's I'm making a lot of assumptions here, but could it also be, if she wasn't telling the truth about Robert, could she not be telling the truth about this individual?
Well, credibility is always an issue in any case. And usually the adverse side is always looking to probe that. You know, sometimes for a proof basis to establish an element of an offense. In this case, it might be used to attack her if she says something that the government in the Bahamas doesn't like and says, oh, we have other instances where she has not been accurate. But again, there's a question, was she inaccurate? You know, who really told the truth there? So the credibility issue would have to be where there's an inconsistency in what somebody said, not just where somebody's challenged what they said as true.
And that case, this new case, is not going to get resolved before the Bahamas case, assuming it goes to trial before.
Oh, Lord. Ruckman, thanks for gifting a membership.
So the question I have is, if she were to testify, let's say, the reason I asked that is because I was thinking, let's say he's found not guilty. Let's say it turns out she made it up. If she were to take the stand in the Bahamas, and I'm not an expert on Bahamian law, but I wonder if she could be questioned about this incident.
Obviously, it'd be up to the judge to decide whether it's relevant in the case. I mean, Bahamian law, as I understand it, and I'm not an expert on it either, but is not too different from the United States in certain respects. In other words, there'll be a jury trial here. The government has to prove that there is a conspiracy, that it's a credible plot, and not just, something that hatched because of an angry spouse. And there are some problems with the case unless there's more evidence that hasn't been revealed yet. And that may be the case in the Bahamas. But in terms of something that she would say in the case with Love, You know, again, they have an alleged confession from her. They have a WhatsApp statement to someone else. I don't know that anything that she would say to Love about abuse or fake accusations about abuse would apply in the case there. Because he doesn't accuse her. Love doesn't accuse her
Right.
of abusing her.
Right.
It would be different if it showed a violent tendency, perhaps. But again, it's a stretch.
It's just an interesting development when it comes to this. And I think about the case that she's currently facing. Do you think it's relevant at all that she's dating while she's, I mean, essentially accused in a murder for hire plot? Does that strike you as strange at all?
Well, she's not going to look.
Man, that's crazy. That one dude, the guy that she was dating or whatever that lived in the Bahamas that is arrested for this also. I wonder if he's sitting there like, what the hell, Lindsay? You said you love me. We were going to make this work. I'm doing time for you. And she's back in the States like, who? Who are you?
Like Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm here. I mean, you know, this is a woman, and it's an interesting relationship because here she was going to go to Key West with her boyfriend, but then decides to join her husband and 3 children on a private plane. But then when she gets to the Bahamas,
Yeah, that's crazy.
she's going to stay with the same boyfriend somewhere else in the Bahamas, but just wanted to get on. So one of the
Ash, I can't on TikTok, but you can come over to YouTube and watch the video with us just so you can actually see it. The Mystery Project on YouTube. And y'all hit me with those little crown things. Come on.
questions is going to be, did she create that scenario and getting the cops there? And was that some sort of a setup to say that she was a victim of abuse? And that's why she responded in the way she did.
Done.
But again,
Susanna.
it's a stretch on that. They're going to look at what happened in the Bahamas. The problem with the case there with Shyer is you don't have any history of her having any communications on a plot before that same day of the argument in the driveway and the alleged plot discussion down in the Bahamas. That was all the same day. So you don't have issues on that. There is a monetary issue here because...
Before you go to the what do you mean by the same day? In the sense, why is that a problem?
Well, I think that plots, conspiracies, first of all, you have to have an agreement to commit a crime.
Correct.
Lindy.
So it seems like they have that element here. And then there has to be some action, though, in furtherance of that conspiracy. It doesn't have to be that they attempted to kill the person.
Oh, damn.
But they have to go get a weapon. They have to go, you know, there has to be something to show they're actually going to intend to carry out this crime. That, to me, seems like there's some evidence that's lacking here in the Bahamas on that, unless, as I said before, they have something that they're not sharing yet.
That could be very well true. But if you send a picture to somebody, allegedly send the pictures and say, kill them,
right?
Is that enough?
I don't think it is. I'm not sure how the Bahamas would treat that.
What happens if there's an exchange of money?
Well, that's another thing. I mean, there is an issue here. Now, there was a divorce, so they already knew about the divorce. But there was a lot of money involved here. Now, if he does die, as I understand Georgia law, then the divorce disappears because it evaporates because the spouse is no longer living. Now it gets kicked over to inheritance law. So if he doesn't have a will that cuts her out, then whatever he would be entitled to would then perhaps go to her. These people had a lot of money.
Yeah.
So there could be a monetary motivation here, and it may be a monetary motivation for the boyfriend to even be involved if he was standing to gain. But again, I didn't see anything where there was a discussion about exchange of money. Even Newbold, there's nothing that I saw that said he was going to get anything for this murder.
Right.
And usually, you know, there's at least something about, hey, I'll pay you $10,000 or I'll pay you $15,000 for this, or the money will be. There's some sort of description here. All you have is an angry spouse with a boyfriend in proximity to her husband down in the islands, and she's saying, kill him, and then she sends photographs and directs him. But then what happens after that apparently is nothing.
By the way, let me ask you a question. If the charges were dropped or she's found not guilty, does that affect her ability to reunite with her children? Would there be any legal mechanism by which Robert could ultimately say, in light of everything, she shouldn't
There's KK. Thank you. Just saw that.
be around the kids? But she's innocent. So what legal mechanisms could he use to prevent her from being near the children? Because I don't know if there could be.
Well, and I'm not sure,
accusation charges in and of themselves is probably not.
and that's a great point. I'm not sure there are either.
Yeah.
But it depends. If you go to a trial and there are proofs that are in, and there's evidence and there's a record and a transcription of that record or other documents and things, and that establishes a basis for him to say she's a danger to the children. Because
Right.
the focus would always be on the children, as
Right.
I understand, with family court. So, unless there's something to show that she's a threat to him or can create a toxic environment for those children because of her relationship with him, then
that's fair, because you don't always have to be you don't always have to be found guilty of a crime to lose access to your children, right? There could be other things and the standard could be lower there. Just generally speaking, before I let you go on this, have you seen murder for hire cases where the defense is, I was angry. I wasn't serious. Is that the best defense and the most successful defense?
I'll answer that in two parts. The first,
That is crazy as hell, though. Don, thank you. Howdy, ma'am. Susanna, howdy, ma'am.
I haven't seen anything where there's not a greater development than there was here.
Sure.
I mean, there's usually a period of time where things are leading up to the critical discussion, and then there's some activity after that to start getting in place to commit the crime.
Yeah.
Now, is it enough?
Wendy, howdy, ma'am.
It depends on what happens if there's a proof of an agreement, as there seems to be here, and then they go ahead and they do something on that to further advance that plan, that plot. Then it becomes a credible plot. But the question is going to be, what is that significant issue? If they go out and buy a weapon, I'd argue with you, yes.
Yeah. And sadly, a lot of the murder for hire plots I actually cover end up with someone dead. And then it becomes a question, I wasn't involved, I wasn't serious, they took it into their own hands. But if you take these allegations as true, and that she really did want this to happen to her husband or estranged husband, it is a miracle. And I think we should all be thankful that this father was not killed and that these children were not left without a father, because this could have ended much worse. But again, she is innocent until proven guilty, at least in our United States. And, these are accusations. We'll see how it ultimately gets prosecuted and when. But it's just an interesting development nonetheless about another aspect of her life coming into this.
Well,
Pretty crazy.
and it doesn't help her in her perspective to a jury. But then again, that's going to be the argument. Does this have any linkage to this case? And is it too unduly prejudicial?
Well,
If everything's prejudicial in a trial for one side or the other,
Yeah.
it's a question whether it's unfairly prejudicial.
it made the news. And so if you're talking about jury selection here in the United States, what do you know about Lindsay Shyer? Have you I
True.
saw that something happened with this restraining order. It made the news. And that's not something I think she wants, or anybody who represents her wants, is her making news in the middle of this. But Bob Hilla, good seeing you. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it.